of x is 2 cosine negative 6x. A equals 0. And we're doing P1 all the way to P4. Okay? So from a linear all the way to a fourth degree. And so we're going to need all the way to the fourth derivative, aren't we? Right? So all of these problems, make this list. Recopy the original function. And then evaluate it at the center. So this will be 2 cosine of negative 6 times 0. Negative 6 times 0 is 0. Cosine of 0 is 1 times 2 is 2. F prime of x. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. Okay, I'm going to write all this out, but I'm not always going to do this. 2 times negative sine, negative 6x. But then we need to multiply by the, got to use chain rule, right? Multiply by the derivative of the inside. What's the derivative of negative 6x? Negative 6. So I'm going to put a negative 6 out here like this. So that'll give us this negative, and that negative will give us positive. 6 times 2 is 12. So now when we evaluate this at 0, well, we're going to get 0 inside. Negative 6 times 0 is 0. What is sine of 0? 0. So this whole thing is just 0. Go on to the second degree. Again, I'm not going to show all this detail. The derivative of sine is cosine. And when we do the chain rule, derivative of the inside, we're going to need to multiply by negative 6, aren't we? And negative 6 times 12 is negative 72. So we're going to get negative 72 cosine negative 6x. F double prime of 0. If we put 0 in for x, we're going to be doing cosine of 0, which you said was 1. 1 times negative 72 is negative 72. Third derivative. Help me out with a calculator, please. When we do the chain rule, we're going to have to multiply by negative 6. Negative 72 times negative 6. For what? 432. Positive 432. Now, the derivative of cosine is negative sine, so now it's going to be negative 432 sine negative 6x. Are we okay with where that negative came from? So f triple prime of 0, sine of 0, if you put 0 in for x, negative 6 times 0 is 0, sine of 0 is 0, everything is 0. Turns out for this one, all of the odd degrees are going to work out to 0 because they're going to have sine in there. One more, fourth degree, and I like the notation of putting a little 4 in parentheses up there for fourth degree. The derivative of sine will be cosine. Chain rule, we're going to have to multiply by negative 6 again. Help me out again. Negative 6 times negative 432?
2532.
2532?
92.
2592. Derivative of sine is cosine, negative 6x. Now the fourth degree evaluated at 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, so it's going to be 2592. So we always want to make this list. Any questions about that? Any of those values? After we have that list, now we're ready to write our polynomials. So I guess I'll do them over here. We're going to go all the way down to the fourth degree. So P1 of x, this will be the linear. F of a, which is f of 0 plus f prime of a times x minus a. So f of a is 2. And f prime is 0. I'll write this, but it's x minus 0 to the 1. That's all 0, isn't it? So this is just 2. P2 of x. I'm going to write a bunch of detail here, and then I'm not going to write this detail in the future, but it would be 2 plus 0 times x minus 0. This is to the 1 power. This is over 1 factorial. Now for the quadratic term, we got negative 72 here for the x double prime of a. So it's going to be plus negative 72 over 2, that's 2 factorial, times x minus 0 squared. So in the future, I will go straight to this step. 0 times this is 0, so that doesn't need to be written. Negative 72 divided by 2 is negative 36. The minus 0 does not need to be written, so that's just x squared. There it is, finished for the quadratic. All right, P3, the cubic. Well, it's going to be the quadratic plus the cubic term, 2 minus 36x squared. What is this cubic term going to be? 0, isn't it? Because f triple prime of a, f triple prime of 0 is 0. So that means that entire term is going to be 0. That means our cubic polynomial is exactly the same as our quadratic polynomial. Okay. Now our fourth degree. Well, we take the cubic and we add the fourth degree term. So the next term in here will be the fourth derivative evaluated at a, which is right here, 2592, over 4 factorial. Remember these denominators. Down below here, there's a 0 factorial, a 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial. Now it's 4 factorial. Times x minus 0, which we will just write x to the 4th. Don't worry about reducing that when we have it written as a factorial. Just leave it like that. And let's put these into MyLab. So P1 of x is just 2. Not to bother to copy and paste that. And then P2 of x is 2 minus 36x squared. Okay, now here, I am going to copy and paste, highlight it, copy, check. Now if you forget to copy, you just have to type it again. But now I can paste. P3 was the same, right? Yeah, see that? Fantastic. Oh, you can't. Am I running off here? P3 was the same. Now P4, let's paste this again. And now add the fourth degree, 2592 over 4 factorial x to the 4th. There you go. And we could graph the original function f of x equals 2 cosine negative 6x, graph each one of these and see how they are approximations at a equals 0, and they would get better and better and better as we go down. But we won't take time to do it. You guys all right with that? Any questions? What we're doing here is foundational for future sections coming up. So any questions?